What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it. We're sitting at about $440, and right away I kind of want to talk about this structure that we have. Okay, so generally speaking, whenever you move up, you know, you're doing your move up, whatever, having your uptrend, when you have a correction, corrective phases are generally 1, 2, 3-legged patterns, right? You don't see them generally go into like 5, 6, 7-legged. You don't see that. A corrective pattern, if that were to take place, that's like a downtrend essentially, not just a correction in what we would presume to be an uptrend, right? Uptrending, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Uptrending move here. Why is it doing this? I thought I was using the brush here. Uptrending move here, corrective move here, right? If this is a corrective move, corrective moves generally are 3-legged patterns. And we can kind of see that too, just in this context alone, trending upwards here, whenever you corrected, you went down 1, 2, 3. And then that was your low. That was the end of your down move, right? Now you had a running flat or some kind of like sideways move here, right? It's a different format. And then you're starting your upward move here, impulse up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however it might look, whatever. But if this is your 2 after your 1, right? Your impulse up and then your 2 is your corrective. The corrective wave would be a 3-legged pattern. And if it is a 3-legged pattern, if it is a corrective wave in the resounding upward move, that would imply then that off of 1, 2, 3 movements that this is your low. It would imply that. I don't know why this is happening, man. Okay, there we go. People are going crazy. I'm getting blown up on my phone here. But anyways, higher low overall, bouncing off the daily 123 moving average, an area that we have shown significance on both as resistance and support going back in Bitcoin Cash's time. A very solid argument to be made here that was the low and that we don't go lower. Sitting at 442 now, as I've been talking, we've moved up like $2, so that's nice. I'll just keep talking, man, and we'll keep making money. It is still possible we could move lower. I do want to address that. It is still possible we could move lower, but the extent of which we could move lower would just be one more move down, right? Again, generally 1, 2, 3, that's corrective patterns, but sometimes we do get 5-legged patterns, five-legged moves to the downside. Sometimes it happens, right? But that would be kind of the largest that I would expect. So if we were to move lower than this low, the bright side, the silver lining to moving lower than that low is that would likely be it. And likely, just based off of the movement that we've seen, we likely wouldn't go below these lows here. So it would, even at a big move down, it would still be a higher low overall, which would still keep the sanctity of this structure of an upward move at play here, right? So I don't think that's going to happen personally, and I think it's very telling in the volume here. Volume's dying off, especially in this corrective move, man. We draw a straight line here since that correction came. Just look at how much less volume we had ever since then, right? You had one day where it was above average volume, and then the rest we haven't seen above average volume on a daily perspective since. So a lot of this move has happened with below average volume. We're finding support at a key area that we normally find support at, even without the 123 moving average. If we just go left, we can see that we've basically found support in this area before, found resistance in this area before, and then of course, we go out to the weekly time frame. And I've addressed this every time, but I think it's important to address looking back in time. Resistance here, support, 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 support. The great gap itself was here, right? So very significant area to find support on. I'm addressing this in detail at such great length, and every single day really for the last 3 days I brought up that line specifically because I don't believe we're going lower than it. I don't care what the look is right now. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because the daily look to me, it would appear as if we go lower. That's my assumption. But I think the daily look is deceiving us. I think it's deceiving us. And I think that the truth is in the volume, right? But we'll see. Time will tell. The daily RSI bouncing off the oversold zone, an area that we found support at before. We found support here maybe now. And we found support, yes, even for like going back in time, very similar bounce here. I wonder what would that bounce be back here. It was at a relative low, but below the 123 moving average, not above it. I don't know. Rejecting the 40 on the daily is not a good look in itself. Generally, I would expect that you go to the oversold zone. So let's look at the 4 hour in that aspect, right? In that sense, looking at the 4 hour here, I like the structure here. Yeah, higher lows, kind of a triple bottom actually, which is some form of bullish divergence actually. And you haven't even seen that divergence play out yet. And now you're in this somewhat of an uptrend with higher highs and higher lows. Your price is seeing higher highs and higher lows. And yes, your overall higher lows, but from this low to this low here, it's a lower low. And this low in price to this low here, it's a higher low that's hidden bullish divergence. It looks good. It doesn't look bad to me. It seems as though we're uncertain right now. And being that it's the weekend, being that it is Saturday today, and we have a whole nother day, Sunday, for the weekend to continue itself, it's very possible that we're just boring and we don't do anything. I am kind of expecting this weekend to promote some growth. If I'm wrong on that, I don't think that we would move down too much. If we were to move down this weekend, I really don't think we move up too much. If we move up this weekend, there's a case to be made that we probably don't move up that much either. But sometimes during these bull market runs, we do like to get away. We like to expand during the weekends and catch everybody off guard. And being that we've kind of been boring, we've had a crypto weekend already with this week of being Christmas and having, Christmas Day and Christmas Eve kind of even being open on Christmas Eve in the stock markets. I'm sure most people were away from work, away from their trading desks, not being involved with this. They're more with their families, right? We've kind of already had a weekend. So if there were to be a weekend that we expanded, it could be this weekend. It really could be. But I think the more appropriate call to make, even though I want to say that we're just going to move up from here, I think the more appropriate call to make would be we're probably going to be within this range by the end of this week, right? So this week will probably close something basically like what it is now. Maybe we move up a little bit, somewhat of a neutral closing week, okay? After last week's movement, after this very strong wick here, closing this week right here, having a neutral week, especially during a holiday week, that's not too concerning for me. I just would like to see next week start moving up, right? I'd like next week to progress. I also do suspect, in the wake of saying all that, I do suspect that we might open January to the downside a little bit. We might move down for like the beginning week, maybe just the beginning days, but then continue to move up from there. So if I'm expecting that, maybe we move up going into the end of the year, and then beginning of January we correct a little bit, and then we move up. I don't know. I just drew this, guys. Watch it play out exactly like this. Watch it literally. We've got, then we'll have an inverse head and shoulders. Watch it happen exactly like this. Over the weekend, we're going to move up to 557, and then to start January off, we're going to move down to 500. And then we're going to move back up, and then we're going to see new relative highs by the end of January. I don't know. I don't know if that actually happens just like that, but sometimes I draw lines like this just for fun, like just off the top of my head looking at it, and then I'll look back and it works out pretty well. And the reason I drew this, it is just off the top of my head, not for any reason specifically, but where I stopped was at previous areas of resistance here. Where I found support was at previous areas of support here. So seeing something like this might literally happen. And even this breakout move itself, it's kind of perfect for a measure move of this overall inverse head and shoulders pattern that would develop. It's literally perfect. So this exact move, guys, watch it happen. I'm going to call for this, right? Just out of the irony alone, but I'm also somewhat confident something like this could happen. I bet we move up by the 1st, maybe the 2nd of January. We're at 550. We spend that first week of January, or at least the first few days, coming down back to about 500, and then the remainder of January will be expansion into these areas upwards toward $1,000, $1,300 or higher, and we'll go from there. But I don't really have anything else I want to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. If you guys like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. The 4-hour looks bullish to me. The 1 hour looks somewhat bullish to me. It's not really bullish or bearish. I suppose it's more bearish than bullish, actually. Maybe not. Maybe not, no, because you're getting oversold. Yeah, I said this yesterday, right? You got oversold here on this low, but you didn't get oversold here. That's hidden bullish divergence in itself. So technically, actually, it is more bullish than it is bearish, to be completely. But you're living so much below your 50. It's just so weird. It's like you want to move down, but you just aren't doing it. Generally, in situations like that, when you want to move down, but you just don't do it, that calls for a nice move up, which makes sense with this little inverse head and shoulders theory that we might have coming. I don't know. But again, in case I'm wrong, in case we do see an extra leg down here, if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-legged correction phase for whatever reason, maybe this third leg is just like this whole leg here. It is just the third leg. I don't know. I'm not an Elliott wave expert, right? But maybe someone else could give us some insight on that. But even in our worst kind of situation, we would likely still have an overall higher low. And then after that, we would just continue our trajectory upwards, right? It would be a little bit of a different story than what I painted at the end there with that inverse head and shoulder idea. But all in all, the destination would remain the same. I suspect Bitcoin Cash will, after this next week, going into the beginning of the year, it will start to see green weeks again, right? We've had 3 weeks to the downside now. 1 week's kind of neutral right here. And these green weeks, I suspect, coming out of this high, I suspect that they will be bigger than anything we've seen really since April. It'll be bigger than it. We're going to see bigger green weeks than anything we've seen since April, right? Things that are moving up at like a 75% rate, 39% rate, or more than that, right? We're going to see that happen in January over the coming weeks. And I don't know, I got nothing else to say. So if you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Closing the week here wouldn't be bad at all. Finding support right at the 50 on a weekly basis. We found support here tons of times before. Yeah. All right, take care, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.